All right, Carly, I can get us started. Hello everyone. My name is Heather Holland. I am the proud executive director here at City Year in Dallas. Super excited to see all of our new folks that are here. And then of course my team, my impact managers, my impact staff, and then my awesome core members that are on the call. So excited to meet you all today.
Awesome, thanks, Heather. I know we have a few others, Lawanda, Catherine, Rob, any of y'all want to introduce yourselves quickly?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Hey everyone, my name is Lawanda Maxwell. I'm a proud impact manager, and I'm looking forward to meeting you guys all soon.
Okay, not me. I'm Catherine Washington. I'm one of the impact I'm actually the AmeriCorps Member Experience Director. That is new for me. So yay me, I haven't said that out loud yet. And I'm really excited to meet all of y'all, get to know y'all through your year, now while you're learning about City Year Dallas, and then once you come. So really excited to see and meet all of y'all.
And what's up, everyone? My name is Robert Poland. I'm a proud impact manager here with City Year Dallas. Excited to meet you all.
And hello, my name is Brittany Campbell, and I'm also a proud impact manager at City Year Dallas.
Awesome, thanks y'all. All right, so we're going to do, there we go. We're going to do jars, which are going to be joys, appreciations, ripples, you can throw laughs. And so this is a way that we start most, if not all, of our meetings together. And it's just like a bright spot to start the meeting. So you're going to share in a minute, we'll do Menti. I'll open that up for y'all so you can see each other's joys and things of that. Appreciation would be like an appreciation for someone or appreciation for something. A ripple would be something that impacted something else. It's a little confusing to kind of like hammer that down. I don't know if someone has a really good example. I'm blanking on a good example of a ripple. Does anyone that's on the call that staff-wise have a good example of a ripple they would like to share? If not, that's okay. They're hard to like pinpoint example, but if y'all just want to share some like joys, appreciations, any laughs, we've looked at funny stories, something that really great that happened today, you can go to menti.com and type in that code. It's gonna be 12856228. And I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a second and then reshare it with that so you can see all of everyone's joys and appreciations popping up on there.
Okay, let me share an example of a ripple just in case anybody was curious. Because I have a good, when you're in class working with little people, with young people, so my favorite ripple that I would love to hear from core members always was whenever, like if you're working with a kid and like you're showing them like some skill, right? Like some, whatever it is that you might be working with them on. And then like next day you see that same kid working on that same thing with another kid or like a group of kids. You got to see that that ripple, right? Because it like keeps going. Whatever it was that you did, it keeps on. It's like the love that keeps going. So that would be like a ripple.
Awesome, thank you. All right, I'm gonna share the Wordle. So if y'all want to start putting that in there. All right, so we have heartwarming, fun, happy. I think you can put more than one in there. I think it gives you space to put 3. And at the top, you'll see the code if you need it again. It's 12856228. Some good stuff coming in. Good health, new nail polish, always a plus. Hard nail polish is not fun to mess with. Excitement, happy, love, productive, some good stuff. Looks like good health is growing. People are very appreciative of their health. I can definitely relate to that. Awesome. Y'all can keep throwing them in there. This is just to get y'all ready and warmed up to the kind of, like I said, how we start meetings every day with your team. You will start in a circle and usually you have an opportunity to share like a highlight of your night or something that happened from the day before. And we end our days very similarly, where you're able to share like a positive thing or something else we call is like squishies. So if you're like, hey, some bad stuff's happening, you're able to let other people know so that they can give you some grace in that space. So this is a really great just practice for y'all to kind of get used to that mindset. All right, I'm going to stop sharing and then start sharing again. Just a second. Okay. All right. So y'all are y'all seeing my screen? Good deal. Awesome. Okay, cool. We're gonna keep going through. So the objectives of their day, you're gonna just get information about serving as a City or AmeriCorps member and what to expect next. At the end, we're gonna have a slide that will talk about our next sessions, what those are gonna entail, and different things of that sort. But before we start, we just want to say congratulations. Y'all have confirmed to be a City or AmeriCorps members for the next school year, and you're going to be supporting the students of Dallas, Texas. And we're all very excited to have you, very excited to meet you all. So we're going to hop right in, and Catherine's going to lead us through organizational values.
Okay, thank you. I'm also following, FYI, I have a little person. She is like 1 1/4, so she gets real loud when I talk virtually to anyone. So just beware and excuse her. Okay. So if you are looking at your chat, I'm dropping a link in the chat for you to just take a moment to look at our city year values. So these are the 10 values that we pride ourselves on in our service, on staff, just anybody in the organization. These are our 10 values, our go-to. This is what this is what we're based off of. And so what I really love about these values is they, when I first started working at City Year, I was able to read these and know exactly like how I connected to each of them. And I felt really proud about that. So I dropped the link in the chat so that you can read. They're really short snippets so that you can just read really quickly. And then when you're ready, sorry, she's real loud. When you're ready, if you'll drop a stamp, and if you go to view options, like if you hover over where all the faces are up above the faces, there's view oh, nope, that's not true. I lied. Where is it? I don't see it on here. Oh, it's down at the bottom now. Someone that's more tech savvy, where are the stamps on here?
I thought you were the wizard.
I normally, look, lately this role has been taken from me. They're usually under view, right?
Yeah, I
If
thought
It's
they
at
were
the very top. It says view options.
And then you have to click
Okay.
annotate.
Annotate, yeah. And so when you click the annotate, y'all bear with me, okay? And then you click the annotate, and then it's a stamp is right there with the check mark, and you can click whatever stamp you want. So once you've read through the values, you see which one speaks to you, which one mostly speaks to you. You can pick a couple if you like, and then just stamp away at what you feel like speaks to you. And we'll just take a few, I don't know, like two minutes to do this. Is that okay, Carly? Okay. I already see some hearts. like we've got a few serve to a cause greater than self, which is good since y'all are all here. Belief in the power of young people. Lots of empathies. Ooh, lots of some Ubuntu's, love it.
If for some reason you're not able to stamp, you can go ahead and put it in the chat. Then I got some messages people are not able to do it. Or I don't know if you can do it from a cell phone either.
Oh,
But if you're not able to do it from your cell phone, you can put it in the chat and we can all see it.
yeah, perfect. Thanks, Carly. Okay. Take a few more seconds. And just note where people fall, right? So we see some in the chat that says empathy and inclusivity, students first, collaboration always. Love it. So note where folks fall. These are the folks you're serving with next year and serving kiddos with in our community. So look out where the values that the values that speak to them are. Really cool. Okay, Carly, you can move on to the next one. This is us, y'all. So like y'all heard, so y'all have been hearing Carly chat, but the value that speaks to her is empathy. And then we've got LaWanda, who will talk to y'all after me. Hers is also empathy. That's an important one when you're coming to serve, right? And then Rob's is excellence. Also really important because we want to serve people with excellence and do all the work that we do with that. And then mine is the belief in the power of young people. I think to some extent, all of us come with knowing that, right? The folks that serve all of y'all are young people with a lot of power and a lot of idealism and a lot of like, let's go get this work done. But with like the empathetic, big hearts. And so I think that that's just a really powerful thing. So I love that. Okay, move on. Next slide. Okay. And so we can go to the next slide. So a big piece of our work at City Year is our commitment to equity. And so I am going to read a few pieces because I think it's really important to share just like all of the work that we've done through the years and how we've shifted and how we've grown our organization. So, and I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm going to read it, so bear with. City Year Dallas was built on the belief that uniting and empowering diverse teams of idealistic young people, all of y'all, and charging them with solving some of our country's most difficult challenges can change the world for the better. So back to like our values, really believing in the power of young people is like that's why it's a value, is because it's a big piece to why our mission is the way that it is. And the organization evolved over time. So there used to be a time where our organization focused on just lots of different community service pieces, different things. We're just working in community for different missions. And then about 10 years ago, we shifted to just serving in schools full time, using the whole school, whole child model, which you'll learn much more about later on and during training and things like that. And we really wanted to focus in on this because this was like our piece of the puzzle to really working on advancing and making sure we're part of that conversation and building equity. And then let's see here. So some of the things that we've done as an organization is we've built an equity council. So that sits at our headquarters, but then there are folks at each of our sites that work with that council. And so we're really intentional about where we have voice and how we make sure that we have voice from all of our sites. And so we're all together and aligned. And that council actually has a diverse group of not just staff, but it's also some senior core members. And that is across all of our sites. And then let's see what else is on here. And then most recently, we've really focused in on our DBIE work, which is definitely still a work in progress, which on the next slide we'll go more into. It was a work in progress, and we just thought that it was a really important piece to make sure that everybody at our organization at all levels and all layers are educated and are just strengthened in their affinities in the and just all of the communities that we serve, and understanding those communities and how we function within those. And so on the next slide, I will talk about what DBIE actually is and what it stands for. So DBIE stands for diversity, belonging, inclusion, and equity. And you can just put them all on there. And what I really like about explaining this slide, they used, actually, let me pause and let you just read the slide for just a second, and then I'll share a little analogy that I thought was cool. Just take a second and read it. Okay, so a piece of DBIE is that we've tried to interweave all four of these pieces into our programming. So what we do in our learning and development days, which is it would be your learning day, where you're not on campus, but you're doing different trainings and different learnings for a day scattered throughout the year. And we have weaved this throughout that. So it's not like one specific, like one day out of the month you learn about DBIE. No, it's like weaved in all of the things that we do throughout our program. So that's one thing to note. And then another way to kind of just explain our DBIE is this, there's this concept of, and you might have heard this before, I just really liked it when I was reading through it. So it's this concept of a party analogy. And so in this like scenario, so like with these four pieces, if you're thinking about a party, diversity would mean that you're invited to the party, right? So we make these teams of diverse folks, and that's that first step, right? But then we have to go back to our party analogy and make sure that everybody that's a part of that diverse team feels like they belong, like they're a piece of the puzzle, not just like different scattered pieces, but that we all fit together and we belong with each other. And then the last part of the third part, the inclusion piece of the party analogy, is making sure that you've been asked to be a part of the decision making and help build out the program, build out how we work with students, build out, just being a deciding factor, right? And so we take all of those pieces really really seriously. And then equity, the last piece, if we're going back to the party, is just making sure, just going back to diversity, belonging, and inclusion, right? That without any of those pieces, you can't have that true equity. And so that's why these are the words that we use. That's why these are the pieces that we really focus in on. And that's why we interweave all of this into our programming. Next slide. Okay, and then affinity groups, you might have heard me mention it a little bit ago. So we do have affinity groups that are based on these different things. For the most part, we have national what are they called? Calls right now because we're virtual. So for the most part, so we have national calls. Well, actually, you would have to have them always be virtual because I don't know how you would go to like Wisconsin if you like, we're not virtual. But anyways, so we have these and they're at different times throughout the day, so that anybody in our organization, core member, staff, people in the executive office, like anybody in the org can enter into these affinity groups, and they can talk about things that pertain to whatever that group wants to talk about within that affinity group. And then every year we do reassess this and see like what does an affinity group look like for our site, like our specific site. And so it might look a little different every year. So what we're doing this year might not look the same for next year because y'all might need and want something different, but this piece will always be the same, and that we'll have the national calls, which are really cool. Okay, next slide.
All right, you could go to the next slide. So we know you guys are serving here in Dallas, and you're going to be super impactful to a lot of young students, but we also want to take a minute just to brag a little bit about Dallas. So one, you're coming to an amazing city. There's so many things to do outside. So this is just our skyline view, food. I know you guys probably heard about barbecue, but we have amazing vegan, vegetarian spots, you name it. We have everything in Dallas. The bottom left is a church. If you want a church community, I know that's important to me. There's hundreds of churches in Dallas, parks, there's museums, bars. We know you guys want to have a nightlife, don't have to hide it. So we put that in the little top left for you guys. So you guys have a lot to look forward to when you guys come to Dallas, because we're going to be working extremely hard. So we want you guys to be able to at least enjoy the city with some amazing self-care. All right, next slide. And then I don't have the chat pulled up right now, but someone actually asked, are we going to be placed in one school or multiple schools? Phenomenal question. So we currently serve at 10 schools. So 6 elementary, 2 middle, and 2 high schools, and you will be placed at one of these schools for the entire service year. So you may partner with another school, but you're not going to be going like on Mondays, elementary land, and then Tuesdays, high school land. Nope. You have your school for the entire year. We have 82 core members, and then we are serving almost 7,000 students. So we are looking forward to having you guys be a part of those numbers. And then I'm going to pass it to Rob.
All right. And so what we have here on this slide is just an overview of the schools that we serve in. If you look at the top left corner, you'll see we have one school up north, that's Maple Lawn. That's actually LaWanda School. But majority of our schools are south of downtown in the Pleasant Grove and Oak Cliff neighborhoods. And so service in the time of COVID. City Year continues to abide by guidance from local and national health officials to ensure that we are prioritizing the safety of our AmeriCorps members and staff and reducing the likelihood of virus transmissions in our communities. We have a response team that works to field direct questions from our AmeriCorps members and staff to proactively prepare and respond to the unique needs across our 29 cities. Our leadership teams in each city are working closely with local officials and school districts to monitor local conditions, keeping the safety of the people at the forefront of every decision. Our Dallas site has weekly town halls where we have core members ask questions, and they submit those questions beforehand, and they can get those answers regarding COVID, school district updates, and just City Year Dallas updates. As the new school year begins, City Year partner schools across our 29 sites are offering a range of modified in-person instruction or virtual instruction. City Year AmeriCorps members will continue to partner with teachers to provide students with instruction appropriate to the school environment where they're served. This past year in Dallas, the school year started 100% virtual for the students. However, core members and some of the teachers were providing instruction on campus. This was to ensure the privacy of and the safety of the student identities. It also allowed core members to begin building those relationships and planning with their partner teachers. A few weeks into the school year, families had the options of having their students attend in person or virtual. So we operated on a hybrid model where some of the students attended in class in person, and the others were provided a Zoom link by the teacher, and they attended class that way. The safety and well-being of our core members and nearly 250,000 students they serve is our top priority. Our staff has continued to work to ensure AmeriCorps members are being supported both professionally and personally. In the instance when our partner schools remain closed, we continue to pause in-person service for all City Year AmeriCorps members and instead deliver virtual service and programming. And locations where some in-person instruction is happening and AmeriCorps members are providing in-person support, like Dallas, City Year provides appropriate personal protection equipment to AmeriCorps members and staff, including facial coverings and sanitation materials to limit exposure to the virus. This year, we received City Year branded masks, cloth masks, medical masks, and even some K95 masks donated from one of our board members. Each team was provided with ample hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, and no-touch thermometer. City Year AmeriCorps members will continue to receive their full biweekly living stipends, health benefits, AmeriCorps child care benefits, and educational loan deferrals during their service, regardless of how they are providing service to partner schools. Depending on the school district, City Year continues to deliver remote training, technology, and tools to all of our AmeriCorps members. Topics covered are varied, but include overviews of Google Classroom, how to support students with distance learning, and challenges students may face upon returning to school. Here in Dallas, we had someone from the district actually come in and give core members training on tools and resources they can use for virtual instruction. Finally, City Year sites are holding regular community connection spaces online for staff and AmeriCorps members to build community, ask questions, and receive updates. At the Dallas City level, we have our town halls, but City Year headquarters also offers these spaces as well. And we can move on to the next slide. All right, and now we have our panel. This is the fun part where we'll give you all an opportunity to learn about the experiences of core members who are actually serving this year. We have Janeth, Taylor, and Brittany, who will be sharing their experiences with you. And you'll also have a chance to ask them questions about how they just maneuvered throughout the year. I'll let them introduce themselves by saying their name, the school they serve, and give some insight on what a typical day in the life of a core member looks like.
All right, I guess I'll go first. Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor Jenkins. I proudly serve as the service leader at EB Comstock Middle School. I'm from Dallas, so shout out to everyone that is from Dallas. I went to Skyline High School, and this is my second year City Year. Last year, I served as a ACM at Spruce High School. So I kind of know what it was like to serve at a high school and a middle school for anybody wondering. I'll pass it to Brittany.
Knew I was next. Hi everyone, my name is Brittany Sansom and I'm the proud SL at Cedar Crest Elementary. I was about to do my call, Falcons, and we're soaring. Yeah, so what we do, a typical life in our day is we show up to school and, we go to our arrival stations. We're all stationed at different places and we just welcome in our little babies, our little elementary school kids, and then we just issue them to their classrooms. Yeah, and then I was at a middle school last year. Things are a little differently. We would cheer them on in the mornings all together. We didn't have stations, but yeah. I'm gonna pass it over to Janeth.
Hi everyone, my name is Janeth, and I proudly serve as an ACM over at William Brown Elementary. This is actually my first year doing this, and it's been very exciting lately. The experiences I've had have been amazing, love it. A typical day for an ACM would be, I actually get to school pretty early, so I'm always there seeing the kids come in first. It's really awesome. I get to interact with them in the cafeteria. They always tell me how they're feeling and how they're looking forward to every day. Another thing that I get to do is I also help my partner teacher in his classroom. I get to help the kids around with what they're learning that day, or if they have any questions about the lesson. There are also times in which like they want me to explain things, and I have to do my best. I still do it though. It's really fun. There are also other things I get to do. I work with my team. We do events. Currently, we're working on valograms, so that's really fun. It's been really great lately. Had a really great day today with it, and yeah, that's pretty much the entire day.
And if anyone has any questions for them, we'll have some time for that right now. We're also, after this, going to go through like our next steps and what's to come, and then we'll have more question and answer at the end. So we'll probably have time. Let's do like maybe like 4 or 5 questions. And if you want to say them out loud, that's great. If you want to throw them in the chat, whatever works best for you is fine.
I have a question, if you guys can hear me. How do we get assigned to a grade level?
I can answer that. That's a really good question. So your impact manager will work closely like with the principal and other staff members in order to partner you up with your partner teacher. And then also with that partnership with your partner teacher, they're already like a teacher with an assigned grade level. So that's how you will be assigned a grade level.
I have a question, I guess for all 3 of you. It's slightly pessimistic, so sorry. But Janet, I know it's your first year in the program. So for you, what would you say is like your biggest struggle entering the program, like as a first year in during the pandemic? And then for Taylor and Brittany, what was your biggest struggle with transitioning from like a regular year in City Year to a year in a pandemic?
So for my first year, I'd say the hardest thing probably was not seeing the kids at first and having to work with virtual things. I did kind of have a bit of a struggle with it because at first, since the kids, like I was new to them and they've never seen me before, they kind of brushed me off, but I managed to kind of just build connections with them throughout the days following them coming back in person. And just the relationship building in general is what helped the most during this entire thing happening.
Taylor, I'll go first. So I think the most challenging thing for me was like learning how to manage the virtual classroom as well as the in-person classroom. Because before it was just, I was strictly in person, right? We didn't have to worry about the virtual classroom. So you're assisting your partner teacher in various ways and it's all in person. However, now with the virtual classroom, especially since I'm in a elementary school, we have just like 2 different blocks. So I'll be assisting with my virtual kids online. And so my partner teacher sends me the worksheets that we're going to be doing for the day, and I will pull it up on my computer, share my screen with my Zoom kids, and also have my partner teacher in the background so that way they can also see her board as well as my computer screen. And I'll do everything that she's doing on the board on my computer for my virtual kids. And we still have kids in the background because they're also in person. And then after that, we have a math block, which I'm in a math classroom, so they come to us first. And then we have our reading block after, and so we'll swap. And then our other ACM at our school, who's with my partner, she'll take over Zoom whenever we switch. So then I'm strictly in person the second half of the day, and I'll assist by helping my kids answer any questions that they have about the material, or sometimes I'll work out the worksheet exactly like how my partner teacher has it on her exemplar. So that way if they have questions, but I don't want to disrupt the classroom while my partner teacher is teaching, I'll bring them that sheet of paper so that way they can copy it from there. That's a good question.
Yes, very good question. I'll echo what Brittany said also with dealing with the hybrid learning. Last year it was strictly in person, so we really didn't have that transition. But this year, that has been one of our biggest assets to our partner teacher, being able to help them manage both the virtual students and in-person students. But another aspect I think was different has been the collaboration between different school sites. Like we haven't been able to like visit each other because of different safety precautions because of COVID. So the community building has been a little strained, but we've been fighting through it. So we've gotten used to being on Zoom and showing our faces and getting to know each other through fun virtual team builders. But that has to be one of the things I do miss from last year. But we've been working through it, being creative and coming up with new ways to do that.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. The next question was, what does collaborating with your partner teacher looks like?
I can start this time. So with your partner teacher, starting off, you'll have an hour, what we call an hour one, which is where you'll like set the norms of what the partnership is supposed to look like, what you will bring as an ACM, what your partner teacher is expecting, how they run their classroom, you know, their expectations. In some cases, you might get a first year teacher. In some cases, you might get a veteran teacher. So your experience may vary in that department. And some people may not even know what City Year is if you're at a school where the partnership is kind of new. So that's kind of up to, you know, building that bridge and letting them know what City Year is and what we're there to do, how we can support. That will be your first like partnership with the partner teacher. And then as the year goes forward, we have like planning periods, and you can use that time to discuss any like hiccups y'all may have throughout the year, any changes y'all want to make. It's completely flexible. Don't think like once you have that hour one, that's the guidelines y'all have to go by. You can always like come up with new ideas, ask them for feedback during your planning periods, and also have hour twos, hour threes, like later on throughout the year, because things will change. The students will need different things throughout the year, and different class periods will also need different types of support. So I think the partnership really is based on communication. That's your biggest piece with your partner teacher.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on that. That's honestly the biggest key between the relationship between a partner teacher and an ACM. Communication. It's got to be top notch. For my experience, my partner teacher and I kind of like split up the work. Like he focuses but on both actually hybrid kids, like with virtual and in person. But I'm mainly helping out the ones that are in person, while he focuses with the ones in virtually. He's still doing the lesson. He's teaching everybody together, but since everything's kind of split up at the moment, it's difficult for him to kind of go back and forth between the in-person students and the ones virtually. So he focuses a bit more with the virtual kids, and in the meantime, I help out with the ones that are in person.
I'm just gonna retweet what Taylor said.
Awesome, thanks y'all. So we're gonna move forward. We're definitely gonna still have time for questions. I just wanna get through this next mini chunk and then we'll open back up for questions. So this is what to expect next. Here's kind of where you all are at in our whole funnel of stuff. So you applied, you accepted, now you're in that prepare stage. So you're getting to know, getting to learn kind of what's to come, what is City Year, what will your service look like? Then you'll relocate if you need to. We'll do register, and then you'll start your first day. So this will kind of be up in all of our different presentations. So you kind of have an idea of where you're at and how close you are to that starting point. Moving forward, we will have, these are going to be our next sessions. So we're going to have a Texas open house. I kind of sent you all a little bit of information. I didn't send it out yet. I just didn't want to cause any confusion between that and this since they're so close. The Texas Open House is going to be on February 16th. It's going to be in the evening time, and I'll be sending that out. It's going to be for individuals that are interested in City Year, individuals that have applied, and individuals that are already confirmed. And it's just a space to get to know more, to hear from the core members, to get to know other people, to just get some more information. It's 100% optional, but you'll have an opportunity to kind of join in on that. Our next group session with all of y'all, and then anyone that confirms in that meantime, is going to be preparing for service. You're going to kind of get a really like a deep dive into what does service look like now and when before COVID, so you can kind of get that like whole picture. That's going to be on March 11th. And then housing and relocation is going to be on April 15th. So that's kind of what's to come. You'll see that housing call will really dive deep into here's the neighborhoods that are recommended, here's some different places, giving you just like insight on that. Because we don't start service until about like the middle of July, most places you can't really sign a lease until like 60-ish days out from when you want to move in. So we're trying to get y'all about a month before that time so you can really get prepared. So once that date hits in May or even June, you're able to go right for it. And then another thing is just to start gathering your documentation for registration. We'll go through what a lot of that documentation looks like, but it's, like a birth certificate, driver's license, or some form of ID, social security card, passport, anything of that sort. And we'll send out a bunch of information. You'll get a lot of reminders, but just starting to think like, oh my gosh, I have no idea where my stuff is. Like, I have no idea where my birth certificate is. I have no idea where my social security card is. Especially now with COVID, things are taking a lot longer to come back. It's more challenging to get those documentation as it compared to before. So I wanted to give you all like a big heads up on those things. If you need to renew your passport, if you need to renew a license, like all of that stuff, doing that ahead of time so it's done and over with. That's all I have. So we're gonna hop right back into questions. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen just so we can see each other's faces. Yeah,